I actually do enjoy getting older, too. Except for the minor inconveniences. But, yeah, my childhood was very lonely. And, it was just so boring. And time just would not go. Time went so slowly, Cameron.
Well, here's the thing. If you get young again, let's say a genie came and made you a child again.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get old again.
That's true.
You just restart the process, right?
Oh.
I don't know. But to all of our children,
yes,
or parents that have children, grandparents that have children,
right,
we hope that you are having a wonderful day.
Absolutely.
And, I don't know, playing with them.
Yeah. And as a parent, I tell you, the time goes super fast. Your child would just, they're, 5 years old? Next thing, they're 15. Yeah. So enjoy this time. When they look for you and want you, enjoy it. Later, they don't want you.
They don't want you around. Yeah.
All right. We have a food dialogue for you because it is Monday. And this month, we are having a kitchen chat. That is the main topic. And we're talking about sandwiches. Okay. So, there's a talk show host and she's interviewing a man. He calls himself a sandwichologist. It's a made up word.
Yes.
Yeah.
We of course have sandwich. And then it's common to put ologist.
Yeah. Biologist.
Yeah.
Sandwichologist.
Yeah. And it's just a way of saying I'm an expert in this field.
Okay. So we had talked about sandwiches long ago, but Cameron, quickly, what is your favorite sandwich?
I do like a Reuben.
What's a Reuben?
Reuben sandwich. It has corned beef or sometimes pastrami.
Okay.
And then sauerkraut on it.
And cheese? No cheese?
It does have cheese. I forget the type of cheese.
Oh, very nice.
What is your favorite type of sandwich?
Turkey avocado provolone.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Oh my gosh, I still love.
It's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here are some expressions that we're going to talk about. Get down to brass tacks. Tacks is spelled, brass is B-R-A-S-S, and tax is T-A-C-K-S. Get down to brass tacks.
So this is when you're saying you're getting down to the important part, the important subject.
Okay.
No more jokes.
Yeah.
No more silly things.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the real main thing.
Okay. How about narrow something down?
You had many choices and you're going to pick a few.
Okay.
To limit your choices.
Okay. And finally, tried and true, which is one word.
Yes, this has been tested, it has been used often, and it has been shown to work well.
Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and listen to our kitchen chat.
Welcome back to Kitchen Chat. I'm talking to sandwichologist Oliver Mason. Oliver, let's get down to brass tacks. What is your favorite sandwich?
Wow, that's almost like asking a parent to pick their favorite child.
How about we narrow it down to your top 5?
Sure. Let me start with a tried and true classic, the club sandwich.
If I'm not mistaken, that sandwich has 3 slices of bread instead of just 2. What are the other ingredients?
It has lettuce, tomato, bacon, turkey, mayo, and sometimes ham, cheese, or mustard.
Please join us on page 26. You can find our power dialogue there. Kitchen chat. I'm chatting with a sandwichologist, Oliver Mason. Let's begin. Natalia says, welcome back to Kitchen Chat. I'm talking to sandwichologist Oliver Mason. Oliver, let's get down to brass tacks. What is your favorite sandwich? Okay. How is my talk show host voice?
It's very good. I believe it. You could have your own podcast.
Okay, maybe a live show.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Now, if you say to someone, okay, let's get down to brass tacks, and usually people just come out and say that.
Yeah.
What does this mean?
It means let's get you could also say the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
It just means the most important part, the serious questions. In this case, she's not asking, oh, where are you from?
Yeah.
Oh,
how did you become, an expert in sandwich making?
So this brass tacks here, it's funny, she's asking his favorite sandwich, which usually would not be brass tacks, but because he is a sandwichologist, it's a very serious subject for him.
Right. So she's getting right direct to the question.
Yes.
And this is an expression, I would say, that is often used in the business world when they all get together and there is a pressing or urgent matter. The person taking the lead is probably going to be like, okay, let's get down to business or let's get down to brass tacks.
Yeah. Get to what is really important.
Yes. Okay. So what does Oliver say?
Wow, that's almost like asking a parent to pick their favorite child.
Okay. What is he saying?
So, you know how in Korean you have this as well.
엄마 좋아, 아빠 좋아.
Yeah. Where you can't, it's a hard question to answer, right?
Right.
It's kind of flipped in this case, asking a parent which child is their favorite.
Right.
Maybe you have 3 children.
Yeah. Who's your favorite?
Do you have child A, B, or C more?
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. I have heard that secretly.
I think it's the first child.
Parents usually have a favorite child.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. It's either first or the youngest. That's very common. Yeah. I'm sorry. I mean, this is not fact. And for all the, young middle children, please don't be offended. Okay. So, here Oliver is saying, basically he's saying, oh, that's a really hard question for me. And Natalia says, how about we narrow it down to your top 5? So if you narrow down your choices, what are you doing?
You are eliminating, getting rid of some choices, but not all. Not usually.
Yeah.
So there are 5 million different types of sandwiches, right? And as a sandwichologist, Oliver knows them.
Yeah.
So she's saying, okay, let's take all the sandwiches in the world and just choose 5. You don't have to choose 1.
Yeah, narrow it down.
Just narrow it down to 5.
Yeah. So if you have 10 choices, narrow it down to maybe 3, right? So you're taking, I would say if you narrow it down from 100, it's about maybe taking out 70%?
Yeah.
Or 80%?
Usually.
Yeah.
Technically, you can narrow it down to 1, but if you don't say to 1, I assume it's probably about 70, 80% that you're narrowing it down.
So Natalie says, okay, what's your top 5? And Oliver says,
sure. Let me start with a tried and true classic, the club sandwich.
Okay. So let me start with is our power pattern. Okay. Now, remember, he has to have 5 choices, right?
Yes.
Top 5. So that's why he says, let me start with.
Yes.
So what is that saying?
So he's only giving the first of 5, right? So the feeling here is I'm choosing 1, but I will be choosing more later.
I see.
That is the nuance here. He could have just said, first I will choose, but he just phrased it differently.
Yeah.
Let me start with.
Okay, let me start with. And this one, the club sandwich is tried and true. So the tried and true classic.
Yes. So tried and true, it's one word. The tried part is to have been tried, to have been tested.
To have been eaten.
To have been used,
yes,
right? So it has been used before. The true here part is about it being trustworthy in a sense. It's kind of an old usage of this word.
True.
But it's something that you know will work.
Right. It's dependable.
It's dependable, right? So when you say something is tried and true, you're saying it's like a classic or it is...
You can't go wrong.
Yeah. It's just the standard and it's been that way for years and years and years.
Yeah. And we'll give you more examples of how we use this expression. But the tried and true classic, the club sandwich, and we see that in Korea too.
Yeah.
People like the club sandwich. Do you like the club sandwich? What is the club sandwich?
So the club sandwich is a sandwich with 3 pieces of bread and it has turkey or chicken, bacon, lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise.
Okay.
And I think it's such a classic sandwich that you don't even think of it as a special type of sandwich.
Yeah, but there is a name for it.
Right. When you hear the word sandwich, a lot of people probably think of a club sandwich.
Yeah. Okay. All right, what does Natalia say?
If I'm not mistaken, that sandwich has 3 slices of bread instead of just 2. What are the other ingredients?
And Oliver says lettuce, tomato, bacon, turkey, mayo, sometimes ham, cheese, or mustard. So, yes, it's got 3 slices of bread. That's the key point. And it's got pretty much everything in a sandwich.
Yeah, in a normal sandwich. Yeah, not any weird stuff.
That's right.
But among the normal sandwich ingredients has pretty much all of it.
All right, let's go ahead and listen to that dialogue one more time.
Welcome back to Kitchen Chat. I'm talking to sandwichologist Oliver Mason. Oliver, let's get down to brass tacks. What is your favorite sandwich?
Wow, that's almost like asking a parent to pick their favorite child.
How about we narrow it down to your top 5?
Sure. Let me start with a tried and true classic, the club sandwich.
If I'm not mistaken, that sandwich has 3 slices of bread instead of just 2. What are the other ingredients?
It has lettuce, tomato, bacon, turkey, mayo, and sometimes ham, cheese, or mustard.
Please join us for Power Note. We're on pages 28 and 29. Okay, our first expression, get down to brass tacks, means that let's start talking about the most important thing.
Yes.
Okay? It's time to get down to brass tacks and figure out our budget for the wedding.
My parents said they will split the cost up to $30,000.
That's
Wow.
common.
Yeah.
For a wedding.
Weddings
Actually,
are
there's
so
more.
expensive.
That's just average, I would say. So, when anything, you're doing something, the topic of money, that is really very important, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the most important. So you talk about everything and like, okay, let's get down to brass tacks. How much is it going to cost me?
Yeah.
How much is this, right?
How much is it?
Yeah, that's right. The teacher got down to brass tacks and explained the main topic of the lesson.
Yeah, so this is when the teacher gets serious. So when I was in high school, we had a teacher. She taught Spanish.
Okay.
And she never got down to brass tacks.
Oh,
she just wanted, the kids would come in, she's like, hi, how are y'all doing? Did y'all go to the game? Like, 'cause she liked the football team we had.
Yeah.
So she's like, did y'all see the game? Did y'all see the news? She never talked about this subject that she was supposed to be talking about.
You mean no Spanish?
Yeah, no Spanish at all. Yeah.
Really? How is this possible? You learned no Spanish.
There was no Spanish. I didn't take her because I took French because the French teacher, she got down to brass tacks. She was like, hola, bonjour. Hola, bonjour. Like, she was just like constantly teaching French or the subject.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So when you have to get into the serious subject matter, that's when you'd say that you're getting down to brass tacks.
Okay, very good. Now, if you narrow something down, it means to reduce the number of possibilities or choices. So you're starting with a lot of choices, and basically you're eliminating, getting rid of those choices and just sticking to a few. We need to narrow down our vacation options before we book the tickets.
Well, I want to go somewhere warm, so that eliminates the southern hemisphere.
Yeah. When you want to go somewhere, travel, maybe you want to have a long vacation, there are so many options and choices.
Yes.
I want to go here. I want to go there. I want to go everywhere.
It's so true.
Narrow it down.
Yep.
Okay. After interviewing 10 candidates, they narrowed down their choices to 3 finalists. I feel like this seems right. When you have 10, you narrow it down to 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how, especially in Korea, there are like several rounds of interviews.
Yes.
Right? So the first interview, maybe they narrow it down to 30%. And then the boss sees the the smaller group
Yes.
and makes the final decision.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So that first round of getting rid of most people, you would say you're narrowing down the candidates.
I feel like those corporate interviews, apparently there's like 3 or 4 stages.
Yeah, depending on the company,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
narrowing down.
It's a long process.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so if something is tried and true, and we talked about this, sandwich, classic sandwich, it means that something has been tested, it's proven, it's reliable, it's dependable. What's your secret for getting and staying in shape?
When it comes to fitness, consistency is a tried and true method for success.
Okay, so consistency, a concept.
Yeah.
Right? It's tried and true. Just stick to it. Language learning.
Yeah.
It's all about consistency.
Almost anything of value, anything worth doing, you just gotta do it.
You just have to do it. Put in the hours.
Every day.
Yeah. You can't do it once a week. You gotta do it every day.
That's true, yeah.
The company only uses tried and true marketing strategies to attract customers. So we can use it in this situation.
Yeah, so the marketing strategies they're using are things they've used for years. They're not trying new experimental strategies. They're doing what they know they can do and succeed.
Right. So I do feel when something is tried and true, it's the safe option. It's the conservative option. It's the original.
Yes.
Yeah. And then if you want to, get a little risky, try something new.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me start with is our power pattern, which means I'm going to tell you many things, but I'll start here. Let me start with a simple stretch for the hamstrings.
So maybe this is like an aerobics DVD.
Warming up.
that you're watching, and it's the first warm-up exercise.
Yeah.
Let me start with a song I wrote when I was much younger.
Okay. Maybe it's a little concert.
Yeah.
Okay. You have a lot of songs to sing. Okay. All right. Club sandwich is our power vocab. Do check out the details of a club sandwich on page 30. You probably already know because you eat it often.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. And what else should our listeners do?
Okay, I'm going to get down to brass tacks. There is a tried and true way of getting better at English, and that is going to Audio Hakdang for a small monthly fee.
Wow.
So many great shows.
Very good. Thank you for that.
Yes.
All right. Please join us tomorrow. Have a great Children's Day. All best wishes to all the family, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.